Wow, a Women of Worth. I'm Michelle Martin. It is such a privilege to sit across Ramona Pierson. She spent 18 months in a coma, was pronounced dead, was blind for 10 years, couldn't speak after she was struck by a drunken driver. How did she resuscitate herself, endure more than 50 surgeries, the last one about 3 months ago, I understand, overcome blindness, get a postdoctorate, and build 2 successful companies? And not only that, find love and happiness, which is just amazing. It is just such a privilege to speak with you, Ramona. Thank you for being on WOW.
Thank you so much for hosting me and having me here.
And welcome to Singapore.
Thank you. I love Singapore.
Oh, it's wonderful. So you're here at the invitation of UN Women, are you?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful.
We're really excited to introduce them to all of the work that we're doing and for me to hear about all the new work that they're doing.
Yes, we're going to find out about your work as CEO and co-founder of the Silicon Valley startup Declara, which, as I understand it, combines search and social networking to empower educators to tap on collective skills. And I can't wait to find out how it mimics your experience of old age homes and the wisdom there. So that's just amazing. But first up, can you help our listeners understand why it is an absolute miracle that you are alive after what you experienced in 1984 as a 22-year-old fit Marine?
Yes. In fact, that year, probably the year before, I was nominated and voted the most physically fit Marine. So I was outperforming men in running 13 miles a day. So I went out for a run, and unbeknownst to me, a man had left a bar at the same time, and we intersected at a crosswalk. He ran me over.
He ran a red light?
Yes, he ran a red light. My left foot got caught in the wheel well of the car and spun my left leg around. My right foot was run over, and the bumper went, cut my throat open. So if it wasn't for all the innovations that were happening at the same time during that time, I wouldn't be here. So some guy on the side of the road took a big pen and stuck it through my throat, and that enabled me to survive because he was able to bring air into my lungs even though my mouth was filled with gore and teeth and other things, and I wasn't able to breathe. When I hit the hospital, somebody medevaced me there. When I landed at the hospital, they packed me in ice, which allowed me to survive. It slowed my blood pressure, lowered my body temperature, and it's for that reason that I'm able to walk, talk, speak, and be an innovator myself.
What happens when you wake up after a coma of 18 months? What sort of a state are you in?
You know, when I woke up, I was completely blind. I couldn't speak, and I was confused because I didn't know that it was 18 months, and I could not understand why I couldn't see. And so it was painful, and it was disorienting. And it's interesting because after that, I haven't been able to sleep well since. So I guess 18 months of sleep has qualified me to just skip sleeping for now on.
Which probably explains why you have done so much with
Yes.
life. I think you're just done with sleeping.
Yes, it's true. But you know, we can't leave anything on the table. We have to live our lives in the fullest. And my accident taught me that lesson, is that you can blink and your life will be gone. And I know that's a cliche, but it's real, that we just never know what's around the corner.
You were actually pronounced dead?
Yeah, I was dead, and you know, my whole life, every time.
At the hospital after 18 months or before?
Before. And then, you know, along the way, I'd you know, some body part would fall off, or I'd have some issues going on physically, and just when they would think I wouldn't survive, somebody would invent something. So that's why I'm such a big believer in redefining and innovation. And I love that women are now and always have been innovators and are educators and are the future of this world. And it's because of women who brought men and women into this world who have innovated things that have saved me just when they thought I wouldn't be able to survive.
Can you share one of those innovations with us?
One of them is a heart valve. So the first valve that they put in failed, and so they thought that was going to be the end of my life. And they tried a new mechanical valve, and that's been working very well for me. Um, Also, I had brain surgery to get my left eye back, and somebody died and donated a cornea, so I have their cornea now.
How was your memory impacted by your accident, and how did you regain that?
You know, it was interesting. So, over time, your brain will heal, and that's what happened for me. There's parts of my brain that have not healed, so I had to reorganize the areas of my brain. And luckily, I was young enough and dumb enough, but young enough. Um, Young enough because my brain was still in the formative.
Yeah.
So your brains don't finish myelinating until you're over 23. And so I had this accident at 22. So other areas of my brain had actually reconstructed itself and have allowed me to learn to speak. And I think the hardest thing for me, though, was regaining my sight. And I'd say that because
This after 11 years, you're blind for 11 years.
I was blind for 11 years, so I was young and I was able to learn Braille and to create cognitive maps and live as a blind person, but my trace memories of what it was like to be visual, to be sighted, started to fade, and so I lost the memories of what things were when I looked at them. So when I got my sight back, I actually struggled through that and had to redefine myself as a sighted person. And part of that was because my brain could not connect the vision to language. And so I had to relearn everything. So even though I'd see something, I was still basically an associative blind person. And I had to regain the language of vision.
How do you deal with the many setbacks that must come along the way as you are rebuilding your physical self and then rebuilding your emotional life at the same time? How did you deal with setbacks? I think this is very important for women out there who may be experiencing putting themselves back together after different experiences in life, divorce, for example, who could learn from your example.
You know, I get asked that a lot, and what I have realized is that I tend to always look forward. I'm always putting a new challenge or new goals in front of me. You can't undo what has happened in the past. So no matter how much you want to fix it, you can't. So I realized that the best thing for me to do was to constantly move forward and create my new path. And I think that kept me from being bitter or kept me from mourning the loss of body parts. Now I look forward to being completely titanium.
Great sense of humor. I think that's key as well.
Look, by the time that I'm cremated when I die, they'll be able to assemble a titanium bike out of me. And I'll live forever.
We're speaking with Ramona Pierson. It is an honor to speak with her, CEO and co-founder of Silicon Valley, and one of the most empowering women who have ever been on Women of Worth, which continues after this. Stay with me. I'm Michelle Martin.